So 5 years ago, I went
Can
to
you speak
a bit
closer?
closer. Okay. 5 years ago, I went to a meditation course with taught by by Goenka Vipassana course. After arriving home, my my exercise in meditation went smaller and smaller.
Yes.
Then I completely stopped as my boy came to the world, and I was focused on something else. And then last year, I was going through a period of high anxiety, and then the suffering was big. And then I searched a place to start meditation again. I found a teacher teaching Hatha Yoga, and then I start meditation again. However, I find it very difficult being at home with responsibilities regarding my child and my work to meditate daily. And I would need advice on how to do this.
Well, just like you say, if you have other obligation, then you won't have the time to meditate unless you set up a schedule for yourself, such as the time when you finish with your obligation, send your son or your daughter to sleep, then maybe you ask your husband for 1 hour of being alone so you can meditate or do something. Otherwise, if you don't try to set up schedule, then you won't find the time. If you used to watching TV, maybe you can use that hour that you use TV for meditation. So instead of watching TV with your husband, you say, I like to go to my room and meditate. You have to somehow set up a schedule for your meditation. And then the next problem is whether you can stick to your schedule or not. Because meditation is not attractive at first. You are more attracted to watching television or doing something. So meditation is something in the back of your mind, let's put it that way. But you only do it because it's like taking medicine. Normally you don't like to take medicine. But only when you are sick, then you know you have to take medicine. So if you just look at meditation as medicine, then maybe you can force yourself to take it. You say, meditation is the medicine for the mind. The mind that is sick with anxiety and nervousness and restlessness, you can use meditation to cure your illness, your mental illness. If you think like this, then you can explain to your friend, your husband, your family, say, oh, this is the time for me to take my medicine. So I have to have 1 hour of peace, of being alone. So this is the only way you can do while you are working and have other obligation. But if you are on a leave, like you on your weekend, or if you somehow can manage to get more time, maybe you can go to a meditation retreat, maybe even just for 1 day. It can be helpful. Or maybe if you cannot find a retreat, you somehow can find a place where you can be left alone for 1 day. Then you can then do the meditation. But even if you have the time, you still have to force yourself to do it, because normally the mind doesn't like to meditate. So you have to use wisdom. Say, this is taking medicine for your mental health. Then you might be able to force yourself to do it.
Thank you.
Okay. Anything else? Did you understand what I said?
No.
Not at all.
Now or in the preaching?
Today, yeah, in the preaching.
No.
I was talking about karma, the law of karma, that it affects your mental health. If you do good karma, you have good mental health. If you do bad karma, you have bad mental health. And it affects your spiritual beings also. Your good karma will make you become heaven. Your bad karma will make you go to hell. You make your mind like hell, feel like hell. Hell is not a place, heaven is not a place, but your state of mind or your spirit. If you do good karma, you have a happy state of mind. If you do bad karma, you have a bad state of mind. It affects you even now and after you die.
Mm-hmm.
So this is basically what I was talking about today.
Thank you for repeating.
All right. Okay.
Question from Shelley. How should we practice during this pandemic situation?
Well, you just follow the health advice of the people who knows. As far as your mind is concerned, just prepare for it. If I should get sick, let it be. Because if I could not prevent it, if it's gonna happen, let it happen. But let's not react to it. Just accept it as it comes. And if it lasts, if it should cause me to die, well, then this is the time to die. Because we're all gonna die one day, sooner or later. If you can have this attitude, then your mind will be peaceful and calm, and will not be bothered, will not be unhappy with the situation. But if you cling to life, regardless of whatever happens, then you will only cause yourself misery, cause yourself suffering. So you have to be realistic, being just try to do your best to prevent the disease from happening to you. But if you try your best and you still cannot prevent the sickness to arise, once it happens, then you just have to say, this is the way it is. So try to treat it as the best as you can. If you succeed, then you can overcome the sickness. If you don't succeed, you might say goodbye. But you can be happy. You don't have to be sad or be anxious or worry, because it doesn't help. It only causes you to be sad, be unhappy. Yeah, speak close to the mic. Yeah.
Okay. I want to know why Buddha is famous. Because he was just picked in America in Christianity. Jesus was the Son of God, but Buddha was just a man. There were monks before him. So I want to know why he is famous, why he could reach enlightenment and no one could before him.
Okay. He was famous because he was intelligent, he was smart, he was able to discover the knowledge that no one knows about. See, like Einstein or like Newton in science, they discover something that ordinary people don't know. Einstein discovered the law of relativity, and Newton discovered the law of gravity. Buddha discovered the law of karma. And the law of karma has to do with our spiritual beings. See, we have two self in one. We have a physical self, and we also have a spiritual self. But the spiritual self, we don't see it. We don't see it because it's invisible. So sometimes we assume that we only have one self, which is the physical self. So we live a life not fully fulfilled or complete. We're happy only halfway, not all the time, not full happiness. And Buddha discovered the other half of us and how to make the other half, our spiritual being, happy. So when he taught this to other people and people apply it in their practice, then they have found full happiness, both physical and spiritual happiness. So then this is how he became famous. Then everybody spread the knowledge to other people. like I am doing now to you. I learned from the Buddha first. Before I was half happy. I was happy physically, but I wasn't happy spiritually. So after studying from his teaching, then I apply it to my practice, and I can then fulfill the other half of myself to be happy. So now I'm happy both physically and spiritually. So this is the essence of why the Buddha became so famous. He's not the Son of God. He doesn't create anything. He only teaches us how to fulfill the other half of ourselves. We only know how to fulfill the physical part of us, but we don't know how to fulfill our emotional or our spiritual part. We're still angry, we're still restless, we still feel sad. This is because we don't know how to manage this other half of ourselves. With the Buddha's teaching, we apply it, then we can become happy both in both the physical and the spiritual. Basically, his teaching consists of three steps of practice. First, you have to practice charity. You have to make other people happy. When you make other people happy, you become happy yourself. Like when you give something to your friend, like Christmas, you give gifts to people, then they are happy. When you see them happy, you become happy. See, this is the other happiness, not the physical happiness. The physical happiness is to have a hamburger or have a beer, But the spiritual happiness is to give. In order to have spiritual happiness, you have to give. Okay, this is the first one. You have to practice charity. Second, you have to practice abstention from hurting other people. Don't kill, don't steal, don't lie, don't cheat. Because when you hurt other people, it makes you feel bad. Okay. If you don't hurt other people, then you don't feel bad, and you don't get any retribution. You don't get any punishment from doing bad things. If you do bad things, you can hurt other people and also hurt yourself, both physically and spiritually. Physically, you might have to go to jail if you break the law. But if you don't break the law, you don't hurt other people, then no one can hurt you. Okay, this is the second part of the Buddha's teaching. To abstain from doing bad things toward other people, toward other living beings, not just people, even animals also. Thirdly, you have to develop mental stability or calm by the practice of meditation. So if you can calm your mind, make your mind calm and peaceful, then you will be always happy. So this is the last part of his teaching. If you can apply all these three teachings in your life, you will fulfill the other half of yourself. Okay?
Okay.
Is this clear enough?
Clear.
All right. If you want to know more about my teaching, you can go into my YouTube channel called Dhamma in English. Just search for Dhamma, Dhamma in English. And I'll have all these talks in English posted on the YouTube page. Even this talk today will be on the YouTube next YouTube posting, which you can watch yourself, listen to yourself.
Good.
Dhamma in English.
Okay.
Okay. If you like books in English, I have them back in the other building by the window, put it on the shelf. You can go browse and take whatever you want. Okay?
Okay.
I'll let the other person have question. Anybody wants to ask?
You don't have.
Yeah, wait, ทางนี้ยังไม่เสร็จนะ
What do monks normally eat in a day?
Just like anybody, we just eat whatever people give us. We cannot say we cannot choose the food that we eat. If people eat meat, they want to give meat to us, we accept meat. If they are vegetarian, they want to give us vegetarian food, we accept them.
What monks are not allowed to do?
Not allowed to do, basically, monks are supposed to be a loner. He has to live alone. He cannot have a wife, for instance. He has to, and then basically the same thing like lay people cannot do, like stealing, lying, these sort of things. And then we're also not supposed to have any form of entertainment. We cannot go to amusement park or entertainment venue or anything like that. We're supposed to seek peace and quiet in the forest. Basically, most monks live in the forest. We find the happiness from meditation, because the happiness that we get from meditation far exceed the happiness that you get from going to all these entertainment venues. Okay? All right.
I have a question.
Go ahead first.
Question.
Okay, go on, ask yours.
Oh, okay. Wait, you said monks could not have a wife, right?
Right.
But didn't Buddha have a child?
Before he became a monk.
So that's okay.
Well, yes, but once you become a monk, you cannot.
Oh,
You
okay.
cannot go back to sleep with your wife anymore.
Oh, okay. I understand.
You have to renounce, renunciation. Yeah. Everything. When you become a monk, you have to give up everything: your job, your money, your wealth, your family. Okay, please go ahead.
Hello, thank you. So I, like many of us here, I'm sure, have very busy days which involve maybe an information overload. We're surrounded by information on email, Instagram, Facebook, everything. And that makes us very productive. It means we can get through a huge amount of work, but I do find sometimes I'm at risk of being overwhelmed by the amount of information coming at me from all angles. And I'd love to hear your advice on strategies to find moments of calm through the day, just to find some peace between these waves of information.
Yeah. The problem with this world is we're in a rat race. So we want to put as much time as possible to produce, and this then deprive the time for you to have some privacy, to be alone, to have some moment of reflection or resting of your mind. So this is very hard thing to do, because especially if you work for a company or school, they expect you to perform to your maximum limit. So that then there's no way for you to find any time, any period of rest. You are pushed to your limit. So if you want to have some sort of serenity, some sort of peace, you might have to choose to work independently, have your own job. Then you can decide the amount of time you want to put in for your job. And in order to do this, you might have to change your lifestyle. Buddha said you should learn to live frugally or simply, because what you really need are just the 4 basic necessities of life, meaning food, shelter, clothing, and medicine. All the other things, they are optional, and they don't make much difference to your life, really. What really makes difference to your life is the time to reflect and the time to meditate, to make your mind peaceful and calm, because this is where you'll get the most out of your life, the happiness from the spiritual endeavor, rather than going in the rat race. So this is something we have to balance yourself with. You have to have time for your spiritual part. You have to have time for your physical part. But most people tend to spend most of the time for the physical part, so they don't have time to develop the spiritual part. So they might be rich, they might have lots of things, but they're still not happy, because they don't have peace of mind. And the only way to have peace of mind is to be able to detach yourself from everything, even temporarily. To have a period to be alone, to calm your mind, to rest your mind. So this is what I can tell you.
Thank you.
All right? Okay. Anything else? Okay. Anybody else? No more?
Oh, okay.
Ask all you want.
Okay. How do you actually like meditate like for a long time? Because when I meditate for like an hour, I could fall asleep. So I want to know how to actually like work on it where I actually can think of something. So every time I close my eyes, I find myself falling asleep.
To meditate under the present circumstances is for you will be difficult, because to achieve any tangible result from your meditation, you have to change your lifestyle. You have to eat less. Part of the reason that makes you sleepy is because you eat too much. You have to live like monks do. We only eat once a day. See? We eat once in the morning. Then after a few hours, the food will be digested, and then the sleepiness will be gone. So this is hard for you, I know. Okay. Go ahead.
I've always understood that humans are very like societal creatures, and we need like a tribe and to like talk with people. But a monk's life sounds very isolated. How do you fulfill those needs, or do you believe that it is a need?
Well, life has two paths that you can take, the physical part or the spiritual part. If you want the physical part, then you have to live in the society, because you have to rely on each other to support each other. But if you want to take the spiritual path, then you can live alone. So this is a choice you have to take. Most people will take the physical part because it's easier, because you're used to it. To take the spiritual part is, like I said, you have to fast or you have to eat once a day. Then you have to give up your physical part in order to develop your spiritual part. But for some people they do, because sometimes they get an overload, like that gentleman just talked about. When you work too much and you get overload and your mind becomes restless and agitated, even though you might achieve a lot of wealth, but you're not happy. Like the Buddha before he became a monk, he was a prince. He lived like a king, He has everything that a king can have. But then again, he finds it's not fulfilling. He still have bad feelings arises all the time, especially when he thinks about his future, his physical future. His body is going to get old and going to get sick, and eventually it's going to die. Once the body can no longer serve you, then you will not be able to find any happiness from your physical part. Then he saw a monk. Then he said, then he learned that this monk is looking for another path to happiness, the spiritual path. So then after considering, he decided that the physical path is a dead end. And eventually we are going to have to get old, get sick and die. Then we would no longer be able to find any happiness like we do now. But with the spiritual path, you can be happy all the time, regardless of the situation of your body. You can be old and sick or dying, and you can still be happy spiritually. So he then decided to take the spiritual path and became a Buddha. Then he taught us the spiritual path. Okay? Clear enough? All right.
My question, Ajahn, is about developing mindfulness again, which I've been trying to do on your advice in daily life. And if I'm doing this correctly, that I'm always aware of breathing to try and stop the thoughts from scattering or being distracted. And when that doesn't seem to be effective enough, using the mantra. And maybe because I'm not Thai, but Bhutto, Bhutto, Bhutto did not feel very strong for me.
You
And
can
so
use some other thing.
I can do it.
Yeah.
So yeah, read.
What you like? Emptiness. You can use that.
Ah, right.
Emptiness. Stop
Okay.
thinking. Stop thinking. That's also can be a mantra
Okay.
to remind you not to think. Yeah.
Right. Emptiness and stop thinking.
Yeah.
Stop thinking.
See, watching the breath is suitable while you're sitting, when you're not moving around doing anything.
Right.
But when you're moving around doing things, a mantra will be more suitable. And you can use emptiness, no thought, no thinking, stop thinking. This can be a mantra.
I found also that not me, not mine is very strong.
That's good also.
But I don't know why.
Because maybe it hit the right nerve to you, hit your right nerve.
The right nerve.
Yeah,
Right.
we have different, what you call, point of awareness.
Uh-huh.
So you hit the right point, then you become fully aware of what's going on.
Right.
So you can choose the kind of mantra that is suitable for you.
Thank you. That's
If
very
you
helpful.
don't like to use the mantra, you can also use watching your activity. I'm walking, walking, walking. I'm standing, standing. I'm eating, eating, eating. Yeah. Just watch what you do. I'm washing my face. Just keep watching your face. Don't think about other things. Also, this is also work can also do to help you develop your mindfulness.
That's great.
Okay.
And aside from that, when you're doing that and doing it a lot, is there any need to have like a sitting meditation, a formal?
Yes, you need, because formal will make your mind become fully concentrated and empty. If you're still working, your mind has to work. Your mind still has to think, even though not as much as not having any mindfulness. You still have to use your mind to control your body. So if you want to have your mind to be completely rested, you have to sit down. First, you have to rest your body. Once the body is rested and it's not working, it's not doing anything, then your mind then can stop telling your body what to do. Then your mind can then become even calmer and happier.
Right.
And fully concentrated, enter into full jhana. Let's put it that way. But you need to be mindful first before you can come and sit. Because if you don't have mindfulness when you sit, you keep thinking about this and that, and it won't produce any result. But if you can control your thought before you sit, when you sit, then you can become fully concentrated in a few minutes' time.
So is it not a good thing to follow world news?
Definitely not to follow anything. You have to cut off all your contact with the outside world, such as your eyes, ears, nose, tongue, and body. Refrain from any sensual contact. Like go and live in the forest by yourself, then you will have all the time to control your thoughts. Yeah. Because there will be no distraction. All the things that come into your senses, they distract your mind. When you listen to the news, you start thinking about the news, even after you stop hearing the news. So instead of stopping your thought, it increases your thought. When you come into contact with the sensual objects, such as sound or pictures and anything. So the Buddha said you have to refrain or reduce your amount of contact that you have with the sensual objects. So it will reduce the distraction. So you can concentrate more on your mantra or on your body activity. Then when you meditate, then there will be nothing to pull you away from your concentration.
Because it seems like the closer that, or the deeper that your meditation gets, the louder the noise is also. So
That may be something what we call byproduct, which will disappear eventually if you don't pay any attention. Just focus on your breath when you sit, and ignore everything else that might seem to appear at that time. There can be many different feelings appearing while you meditate. Sometimes you might feel you're floating. Sometimes people think their body levitates. Sometimes happen. Sometimes it happens. But don't pay attention. If you want the result, which is jhana, completely calm and happy, blissful, you have to ignore everything that appears while you meditate. Only focus on just your meditation object. If you use your breathing, just keep watching your breath. If you use mantra, just keep reciting the mantra. And whatever come up, just ignore them. Don't pay attention to them. They just come and go. They don't have any significant use for the mind.
When you were studying, did you compare, say, Sanskrit to I've forgotten the Buddhist.
Pali.
Thank you.
I noticed it, but I didn't pay much attention. I pay more to the substance of the word I study.
Right.
The meaning, not whether it's Pali or Sanskrit.
Because one teacher a long time ago said, if you look at any of the wisdom schools, and don't look for conflict, but look for areas where they agree,
agreement.
And I'm wondering if jhana and jnana are the same.
No, jhana and jnana are the same, are both Sanskrit or Pali, but they have two different meanings. Jhana means concentration, absorption. Jnana means knowledge.
Knowledge. Thank you. Another question, if you have time.
Sure, go ahead.
In the Buddhist system, are the precepts in order of importance?
Yes, precept will then guide you toward meditation. If you don't keep the precept, you might end up in a bar.
Sure. But is the first precept more important than the second precept?
I think the harshness of the precept. The first one is harsh, is the most, has the most what you call harm or bad effect. If you kill, it's the biggest of the other one. Killing is better than stealing. Stealing is better than committing adultery. Committing adultery is better than lying. Lying is better than drinking alcohol. So these are the intensity of the karma that you do. So you should start with the easiest one first. Drinking. Stop drinking. Once you don't drink, then you can control your actions. See? When you drink, you become drunk, and then you can just say something crazy or silly or untrue. But when you're not drunk, you're more careful what you say or what you do. Okay?
Thank you very much.
That's all the time I have for you today. Maybe next time.
Thank you.
Okay.
คำถามจากชาวต่างชาติครับ from No Life on Earth. The first question, can we use a specific meditation word for each hindrance and be successful? For example, I feel greed, I use the word content. If I feel attached, I say let go.
You can try. You have to use specific means to counter each particular hindrance. But from what my experience, when you have greed, you should think of that. Because when you think of that, you say, what's the point of getting all this stuff? Because when you die, you cannot take it with you anywhere. So if you're angry, you should use forgiveness. You should not exact any revenge from the people that makes you angry. You should forgive them.
The second question, I used to get a strong vision of places when I was a beginner. I thought it was like a movie trailer, but the vision stopped. Is that a good or a bad sign?
It's neither good nor bad. It depends on what you can do with those visions. If you can use those visions to develop wisdom, then it is good. If you cannot, then it's not good. So it depends on whether you can make use of it or not. If you can't just forget about it. Please go ahead with your question.
Okay, thank you so much. I have a question about karma. What you have done in the past.
Yes.
And in other lives, you may suffer.
Yes.
On different way. And do you have something to what you call if you want to solve the past karma in this life, is there something you can do or think?
You cannot eliminate your past karma, but you can make new karma, which might be able to counter your old karma. For instance, if you did some bad karma and you now are making good karma only, if the good karma in your system has more strength than your bad karma, then your good karma will take effect first, and your bad karma has to wait, but you cannot eliminate them. Anytime when your good karma is less strong than the bad karma, then the bad karma will show its effect. So what we can do is try to make more good karma, so that the system will have more good karma. It's like when you have bad water in the container, you can dilute them by putting good water into it. This is the same way. Dhamma is a system which contains both the good and bad karma. When the bad karma takes effect, it means the bad karma has more power, it's stronger. But when the good karma has more power, it's stronger, then the good karma will take effect. So in this lifetime, you can try to do a lot of good karma, which there are 3 levels of good karma you can do. The first level is to do charity, help people, make other people happy. The second level is to abstain from hurting other people by not making new bad karma. Keep the precept, don't kill, don't steal, don't cheat, don't lie, don't drink. Because when you drink, you get drunk, you cannot stop your mind from doing bad things when you think of doing bad things. This is the second level of making your system has more good karma than bad karma. The third level is to meditate. Because when you meditate, you become happy. Then you don't have to do any karma. You don't have to do anything. And if you can meditate to the level in which your mind can totally purify itself, then all the good, all the bad, all the good karma will be completely eliminated from the system. And the mind will just be pure mind, pure system. And it doesn't have to take birth anymore. So when you don't take birth, your good or bad karma cannot take effect anymore. So this is the 3 levels of practice that the Buddha teach Buddhists to do. To practice charity, to be kind, be compassionate to your fellow living beings, whether human or animals, and then to abstain from hurting other beings. And fourth, to meditate, to make your mind happy, and then teach your mind the truth that nothing in this world is worth having, because everything in this world only lasts temporarily, and when it disappears, it can make you sad. But if you don't have anything to make you happy, you can be happy with meditation, then you don't need to have anything to make you unhappy later on. So then you won't need to come back and reborn, because you don't need anything to make you happy anymore. then all the bad or good karma cannot affect you anymore. So this is what you can do in this lifetime. Do three things. Do charity, whatever you can, by words, by action, or by money, if you whatever you have, just to make other people happy, help other people, alleviate their suffering, and then abstain from hurting other people, and then learn to meditate. Then you can become happy. Then you won't need to have anything. Then you don't have to come back and reborn. Is that clear enough for you?
Yes, and thank you so much for the fantastic answer. And I'm very glad to be here and talk to you.
Yes.
Thank you for accepting my question. I was wondering, sometimes I have the feeling my heart wants to talk to me.
Can you speak louder? Can you speak louder?
I was wondering, sometimes I have the feeling my heart wants to talk to me, and I don't know what it wants to say and how I can approach a way to understand better. As an example, the first time I came up here to the forest, while going up the stairs, there was all of a sudden a moment where I felt like being in timelessness, where my heart started building up pressure. I had ringing in my ears, and it's like everything starts stopping. And then there is a release in my heart, about 3 times, really strong, boom, boom, boom. I feel it everywhere. And then I'm again here. And I have the feeling so much has happened, but I just don't understand.
This is what happens when the mind is isolated from things that used to bombarding it, like people and things, noises, sound and pictures. When the mind became isolated, then it will then enter into a different environment, and it can then react to it differently. Yeah. So for people who can isolate themselves from other people and things, can find that the mind can become calm, become empty, become different. So this is the reaction of the mind toward a new environment.
Thank you very much.
For those people who want this kind of feeling, they tend to isolate themselves. That's why we have people living up here, so that they can then create a different environment for the mind, create peace and happiness for the mind. It's a different kind of happiness. Happiness without having anything. Happiness by being empty. So this is the purpose of meditation, to bring the mind into emptiness, to bring the mind away from all the distractions.
Thank you.
Okay. Is that all you want to ask?
That was it.
Okay.
Thank you.